what's going on? So I told y'all I'll be back with another video. Now I kind of missed a 7-day span because technically Friday would be the 8th day from Friday, right? But that's okay. We still here. We're gonna make the video happen anyway. For those who don't know me, I am Jaren, the founder and owner of this here studio, the theStudio. So I'm excited to do this singer right here. You all have asked for her probably since I started doing analyses, and I just kept dragging my feet for it. I don't know why I was dragging my feet so long to do this singer, but I'm going to do her today. And so today we're going to do Keke Wyatt. Y'all know she cold. I don't got to say nothing about her. Y'all know she cold. And many of you have asked for this performance in particular, so I wanted to make sure I do this particular performance. So let's stop wasting time and get right to it, y'all. Here is Miss Keke Wyatt singing God Will Take Care of You.
Be not dismayed.
I think my first question to answer for myself, which is rhetorical, will I get through this whole video in the time span that I like to get through videos in? Because she does so many cool things, I almost feel like I have to stop every single word. I'm going to try to not stop every time this stuff happens, but I can't really guarantee because she's so good. But right there she did, be not dismayed. So she switched registrations right there and went up to kind of a heady, lofty space right there, falsetto, whatever you want to call it. She went up to that space right there. Some people may call it even like a mix. You went up to that space right there, and she kind of stayed there. She came down with that run. Water be time. I probably butchered it just now, but whatever it was, she came down with that run while staying in the heady space right there.
God will take care of you beneath his wings abide.
I love that she's keeping everything very sweet at the beginning. So she kind of bit through that abide, kind of used a diphthong to kind of color what she was doing vocally. So abide. The word abide is a diphthong. I is a diphthong right there, those two vowel sounds together. So she used the diphthong to kind of work in her favor and to color it the way she wanted to.
God will.
I want to address the God will. So she didn't say God will, she said God will. So it's giving her some more colors. All you have to do is change how you shape these words, these sounds, or your voice, and you can bring so many different colors to your voice. And it's really just how to navigate and how to manipulate your articulatory muscles and even your resonance and things like that. So as you learn how to use those resonances and the articulatory things more, you'll be able to really control the sounds, the perceptual sounds that your listener gets when you sing, and you'll be able to control how the song goes because you're in control of how the sound is literally being perceived to the listener. You're controlling the sound, literally. We call the resonance and articulatory stuff kind of the filter of the sound. So you're really controlling the filter, how people see it or hear it, you know?
Care of you.
Of you. Singing through that teeth again. Of you. We know she's saying of you, but it's kind of a more teethy version of you. Of you.
God will take care of you.
So right there at that God, she brought a little more weight in and belted out a little bit more. We call that weight supposedly the cricoid. The cricoid is basically a cartilage right on in here that you can use to make your belting a little more weighty. Jennifer Hudson uses it a lot. Leandra Johnson uses this sometimes, but right there, that God right there had a little cricoid in there, had a little weight in there. So from that weight, she was able to bring some mass to that God on God Will Take Care of You.
Through every day, all of the way, he will take care of you. God will take care of you.
So she uses a lot of nasality when she sings. A lot of twang and nasality. Twang is basically kind of like bright, brassy belt that's not really weighty. And the nasality is coming from how she's letting the sound travel through her nose a little bit, and how we perceive the sound is kind of dampening a little bit, but not dampening in a bad way. It's just using different colors. If you notice, she does a lot of that's that nasality coming through. God will take care of you. That is that nasality that I'm talking about, that she does so well. There is nothing wrong with the nasality. Let me say that. There is nothing wrong with nasality. If that's how your voice sounds, that's how your voice sounds. If you want nasality, you put it in your music, put it in your song. Don't let nobody tell you nasality is wrong or things like that. And a lot of times, some people mistake nasality for brightness. So that's another thing, you know, so you have to be careful with what you think is one thing, could be another thing. Our ears to ourselves can be a little deceitful. A thing called bone conduction. I talk about bone conduction a lot. Basically, in bone conduction, what we hear in real time with ourselves is different than what the audience or the listener hears us do in that same real time. So be careful with how you think you sound sometimes. So trust your body, and she's using her resonances and all those things to really shape the perception of her sound, the presentation of her sound. It's excellent.
All you may need, He will provide. God will take care of you. Nothing you ask will be denied. God will take care of you.
What I love also is that she doesn't reach for anything. She doesn't, you know, move her head a lot. Her head really stays pretty much straight up, relaxed, you know, kind of just aligned. She doesn't really, she really stays here. So the reason why she does that, at least in my opinion, why she kind of keeps everything a little more straight, because she is really using her torso and even some muscles in her neck to really anchor and really support what she's doing. Because if you start reaching around and doing all this other stuff, you're compromising how this is going to sound, because you're changing the shape of this. So I wouldn't necessarily say keep it still and stiff, but always be mindful that you kind of keep it relaxed and more so aligned, you know, but still relaxed so you can move around a little bit, because you don't want it stiff, because that can cause tension right here if you kind of keep it stiff. So keeping it more aligned and relaxed. And that's what she's doing right here. She's kind of keeping it aligned and relaxed. You notice she's not really reaching. She's really keeping it forward, relaxed, and she's digging in there and going for it. She did so many resonance changes in that run. She kind of brought some cricoid, kind of some weight going down in the belt, but kind of went back to a twang or nasal twang coming back up. And as she did that, she was navigating the whole run. And that's how she's able to navigate through the run so easily, because she went all the way up, came back down with that weight, but then took the weight out, came back up, and opened back up a little bit more and kind of brought it more frontal, or, you know, more bright, you know, more to the front, resonance wise. And so that's how she's able to navigate. She really did a great job of vocal mapping that run right there. I'll call it a vocal map, kind of just like, okay, how do I want to execute this thing? Did you hear her change her resonance? So her tongue was moving high, mid, low. Her layers was kind of moving up a little bit. She kind of used some twang, came back down, came back out of the twang, came back in. She's really doing a lot of great things with the perception of sound that she presents to her audience and to us. So right there, she switched registrations, kind of have a twangy high belt, then switch to head voice right there. People will think she's mixing right there. I get a lot of times when I sing high belt, people think I'm mixing when I do this kind of stuff. Not that I'm her in any way, but what she did right there, people would say, oh, she's mixing. I would argue to say it's a twangy belt, because there is a likeness, in my opinion, to what people think mixing is. And these definitions are all different from person to person. And let me say this, there's not one way to sing. There's not one mix that works for everybody. There's not one belt that works for everybody. There's not one head voice. Everybody has different definitions. And for me, I think as a teacher, for me, it's finding what works for your voice, what works for your aesthetic, what works for your body. Everybody's body's built differently. So some things work for some people, other things work for other people. But there's no right or wrong necessarily. It's more so what works for you. She's doing what she's gifted to do and what works for her. She has different stamina, you know, different quality, different range. So all these, you know, these attributes, these vocal attributes that she has, she's working her favor while she's singing this stuff, and it's great. So she went from no matter, so kind of a belty squall, to came down, then switched up to head voice, falsetto at the top. That's control. That was such a nice, smooth squall she did. And I'm kind of mad I interrupted that run, so we're gonna go back a little bit so you hear the whole run in context. Jonathan's face. So she's using scales, she's using glottal onset, she's using all the, with squalls, with distortion, with all these things that really is making the song. And at this point, she's really let it all hang out. Like at this point, we know what she's saying. Like she's now ministering and really getting it for herself. And at the end of the day, y'all, people are looking for, oh, look at that tone quality, look at that pitch. They're looking for an experience. And so I think these artists know how to take us from technique to experience and infuse those two attributes and those two thoughts so well. And I think she's doing an excellent job at showing us the skill, but at the same time ministering to herself and to us, you know? And she also has a lot of high tongue in her singing. So the blade of the tongue is rather high versus and it kind of gives you that grit, that bright grit that I feel like a lot of gospel singers and black singers tend to have, you know, when we sing stuff like this.
Yeah!
That last run, I could tell it started getting a little good to her, and that's all right. Because listen, had I been there, I've been running around the whole studio like a madman. Because I know God would take care of me. I know He will take care of me. So I mean, I would get happy singing that song too. So what else did you hear? What else did you like? Drop it in the comments below and let's talk about it for a second. And before you go, click subscribe down below and click that alert button next to it so you know when the next video is posted. Remember to be vocally bold, creative, and aware, but most of all, y'all, be vocally you. All right, y'all, until next time.